Searching for the perfect EDC gun has two routes. One, factory, which has pros and cons to it. Two, aftermarket, which again has pros and cons to it. This search becomes an obsession for most of us gun guys.
Lately, we've seen small frame guns with large frame capacity with additional modularity becoming a big trend.
So what about something from the factory that fits 90% of what we're looking for in a carry gun? That brings us to the 365 AXG Legion. Before we go any further, we always like to be as transparent as possible with you guys. This is a gun that I purchased with my own money. I did get an industry discount from a local shop in Phoenix. Thanks, boys. And then the other gun that we're gonna be shooting today to kind of do some back and forth with these 365 builds is from my coworker, Devon. Something that a good EDC gun needs is a good EDC watch.
I think so.
That brings us to
sponsor of today's video, that'd be the dudes over at Wolvyn, family-owned shop, right? It's a few brothers. They own a basically high-end watch shop that's in the DFW area. So if you're the kind of guy that likes the Rolexes, the APs, the Pateks, the, what do you got today?
Panerai. Wearing my Panerai
submersible, so, rocking that today. They do carry that. Actually, last month they sent one out we were wearing. But hey, you can check them out. It's just wolvyn.com. We'll throw a link to it below. Unfortunately, guys, I wish I had a 30% discount code to give you, because that would really add up pretty substantially. But that is not the case, right? So if you want the goods, you got to pay for the goods. So check it out. Hey, they got a YouTube channel as well. But like I said, we'll link them below. They got a bunch of great stuff in stock, comes with warranties, all that kind of stuff. So check it out. Appreciate them. On with the video.
All right, so let's get into what the Legion line of guns is. The Legion line of pistols from Sig has been around since 2015. Legion line of guns comes with a cool Cerakote color from the factory. You also used to get a cool challenge coin and a really cool pistol bag. But the biggest difference with the Legion line of guns back in the day was they came with the SRT trigger, or the short reset trigger, which was actually done up by Bruce Gray, of all people, who we featured some of his products on the channel before. All of those kind of unique things from the previous Legion line apply to this, but not all of them. And we'll get into the rest of that now. Part of what is becoming a standard in today's EDC guns, and EDC guns from the history of time, is a little bit of uniqueness or ability to personalize the gun. Now, this comes from the factory looking this way, like I mentioned with the Cerakote color, the Legion line, but it has enough features from the factory, such as optic cut, the rail, some of the frame stuff, which we'll get into here in a bit. Those features make this just different enough that it still feels unique, even though this is a production pistol. Say you wanted to send out your other 365 model that you had and get it Cerakoted a cool, unique color to stand out a little bit, that's gonna run you about $200. And the reason I bring up the price is we're gonna start comparing the Legion line from the factory and a custom build 365 that is in the same category as this, slightly different, but you guys will see where we're going with it. So first impressions on the P365 AXG Legion. I was actually at a shop when these showed up for the first time at the shop and got to get hands on them. First thing out of the gate is the way that it feels, and obviously the way that most guys talk about how the gun points, which this gun, in my opinion, fits even bigger size hands very, very well. And of course the nice Legion finish, which is this gray color that they're known for. So let's throw some rounds. Very skeptical at first about how this gun shoots just with the size. Obviously we know as we slim guns down, recoil impulse, felt recoil goes up. With the comp being built into the slide, as well as the nice texture and just the overall weight of a smaller gun, this gun shoots very, very nice. To the point where I was not mad that I was that surprised, but pleasantly surprised that I was almost upset that it took me this long to get to this size of gun, because I am new to 365s in general, and this is kind of the top of the 365 line. So a big trend in carry guns recently is slimming down the size and overall footprint of the gun, increasing the capacity. But another big thing that brings us to the slide of this P365 AXG Legion is the built-in dual port comp, which camera should be able to pick up there. This is becoming, in my opinion, more of from a want to a need in guns coming from the factory. A lot of people are carrying comps on all their EDCs nowadays. It is nice to see a factory gun, and I understand SIG has other models that have that, but this is the whole package we're talking about here, coming from the factory with comps built in as well as optic cut. Those two things are almost, like I said, becoming a standard nowadays. This is the RMSC footprint. I do have a HoloSun EPS on here. This is cut so you can run the EPS carry or the EPS full size. Chose an EPS on this one because I have a lot of time on it on my other pistols, and the biggest downside, I guess people could argue on that, is aesthetically they don't like how it hangs over. There are adapter plates to fill that gap if you guys want it. But other than that, I think from the factory, these are two great features. If you had a current 365 and wanted to start building it out to look like this with SIG factory parts, that's gonna run you right around $500 to get the slide, a barrel, things of that sort. What we're seeing on the aftermarket now for these 365 builds is the ability to do that. Say you wanted to buy a slide, cut out some ports, or a comp in this case with this custom one, that's gonna run you right around $650 total, okay? The barrel with the cuts in it, $180. So you can start seeing from the factory price, which we'll get into that later on in the video. I'm just giving you the price of this right now. These things will start to add up when you want to build something similar to this out. Or again, with the Legion line of AXG 365s, we get 90% of what we want from the factory.
Okay, so my honest first reaction, you just handed me the gun, and I'm like, what the hell is happening here? So here's the deal. Part of it, the optic has come a little bit loose today, but that's not where that sound is coming from. So isolated from the optic, like, guys, I don't know, you probably cannot see this, but it's like, Crispy, can you kind of see what I'm doing? That is craziness.
I mean, I can see the gap in between the frame and the slide.
It's a lot of millimeters.
Okay.
Like,
so
no. It's like a significant amount of gap that is happening between the slide and the frame right now. That is, if I'm being honest, somewhat alarming.
So can I tell you, when I first got this gun, there was no slop, wiggle, anything. I mean, the gun was tight. Okay?
Wow.
So
Okay.
this is something I was gonna bring up in the video a little bit later, but it is a little concerning, right?
Well, guys, so here's the reality. So part of the fun of these sort of first impression moments with the guest host, we'll call it, is that I had never touched that gun prior to 2 minutes ago.
Correct.
I didn't even hardly look at it today because I was like, I want it to be a real first reaction. And that is
Concerning?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. I mean, like, I gotta admit, that bums me out a bit. That slide to frame thing is quite alarming. I don't know what to make of that. Okay, so I'll go beyond that for a sec, but I'll just say, hey, the recoil impulse is nice, especially for a gun that small. The grip feels good, all of that, but I am very stuck right now on that slide to frame.
Like I said, there's no wobble or anything in this gun when I first got it, and there's...
I don't know, dog.
Yeah, well,
I don't know about that one.
outside of that, shot nice. Do you feel the comp is doing some work?
It feels good to shoot. I mean, I'm a 365 guy. It's no hate on 365s. I'm a bit in the shock and awe campaign of what I just saw, though.
Yeah. I don't know what to quite make of that, but we can touch on it later.
All right, there you go. First impressions.
So we just wrapped up shooting the 365 AXG Legion.
Yeah.
But one of the things I heard about when I started asking some friends, and I even made a post on Instagram about it, is I can build it for cheaper.
Okay.
That's what, I mean, say there's 10 comments, all 10 of them where I can build it for cheaper.
Okay.
So I wanted to throw that idea into this video and have that with one that is built. This is my buddy Devon's from work. We'll get into the parts build afterwards, but it's a complete custom. He built it from the ground up, sourcing all the parts.
Sure.
Okay. So I haven't shot this, and neither have you.
Okay.
So this is to get our first round impressions on this. Then we can both fairly, you know, liken it to the Legion.
So this is ported, not comped.
Ported, not comped. But again, it's how people are building 365s nowadays, right?
Okay.
So bunch of different options, bunch of different aftermarket stuff. So
What's his name?
Devon.
Devon.
Yep.
You've made some interesting choices, my friend. This colorway is very fascinating. Okay,
Don't take that personal, Devon. What you think?
Interesting with the play that's also in this. Have you shot it yet?
No, that was
Okay,
my first
you
round.
tell me what you think. I have an opinion.
Go first.
I think that gun shoots softer than the other one.
Does, doesn't it?
I think the porting is doing more than that comp is.
Would you say though that like the comp on that is helping somewhat? Maybe not as much as this though?
You'd have to test it with no comp. That's the only way to truly know the answer to it. But in terms of, is the factory comp or that, I don't know who did the porting, if that's just a barrel you can order. Or
no,
what.
I haven't.
You know, my impression is that's a softer, faster shooting gun.
A little bit softer.
Yeah.
Well, the weather's picking up there, guys, but here we go. So getting into the frame. Another big thing we like seeing with frames today is texture for your index points, whether you're right-handed or left-handed. This frame comes with some nice index and texture points. Comes wrapped in G10 grip panels. These are, in my opinion, perfect panels for an EDC gun. Grippy enough to where you don't feel like the gun is moving around in your hand, but not so grippy that it bothers you while you're obviously carrying it under your shirt. This frame has a nice little beaver tail here to prevent any of that slide bite for guys with a little bit bigger and thicker hands. Also comes with a very nice 1913 Picatinny rail. This opens up options for accessories. Again, one of the things I think the market is trending towards is being able to carry a light on your pistol. Now, people are gonna get mad. We've been carrying lights forever, but I don't carry a light personally because it's uncomfortable. With the ability to get some of those shorter lights like the TLR7 sub, which fits perfect on this, sits almost flush with the front of the gun. This is really a lot of capability in a very small package. And when you start to add on the capacity of magazines, adds to another point with this gun. Another thing to mention about this frame is that it is all metal. The standard 365 macros, which is the Palmer version of this, is obviously Palmer. The weight of the steel frame or metal frame, it's actually an alloy. That's what AXG stands for. It's alloy X grip is what the AXG is. The alloy that this is enough weight to help tame some of the felt recoil, mitigate that recoil, but it's not so heavy that it feels encumbering in any way. Again, with the light rail availability and then also the standard 17 round mags, this is a very capable, very shootable EDC gun with a lot of capacity and features that, again, we're seeing the market trend towards. This gun also ships from the factory with a magwell, which I really like, even having bigger hands. Some guys will complain with magwells that it doesn't give them enough room for their pinky here. There isn't enough room there, but because there isn't enough room and the shape and angle of the magwell, it actually pushes my hand personally up into the frame a little bit more, which aids to getting a better grip on the undercut there and just feels overall like it's supposed to be there. The gun feels just phenomenal. Even for someone with really big hands like me, the frame, the magwell, just feels right. Getting into the trigger a little bit, which we'll do a little dry fire here. We are clear. This is a standard 365 FCU or fire control unit. Okay, so we have a little bit of take up here, nice definitive wall, and then just kind of a mushy break. The 365s, I've always kind of felt that way with these triggers, that the initial take up and wall is nice, but it's just mushy and not very crisp, which is a word we use to describe triggers quite often. Is it terrible? No. Is it amazing? No. I do feel that's a little bit of a miss with these because, again, as I mentioned before, the Legion line of pistols had an upgraded trigger originally. Maybe that's just not possible with the FCUs and how they work in 365s. I think that that is something that SIG could work on to, again, make the overall package a little bit better, but also add to the price, which we're going to get into here in a second. So closing up the frame section, let's get into the custom build here that we have and the differences with that. This is from Mischief Machine Works. Again, this is a trend that we're seeing with 365s, but in general with EDC pistols, is being able to get a custom frame that you want due to the modularity. This Mischief Machine Works, really nice frame, feels good in the hand. These run you right around $400, which will tally up the total cost of this custom build, as well as just the cost of this gun in the next segment. Jake, before we get in any more in the video, we got to talk about belts.
Yeah, my pants are being held up not just by gravity.
Well, that makes no sense because gravity would make them pull down.
I'm cold.
So, I am wearing the light inner Velcro belt. This is the underbelt to my battle belt, which is their battle wagon is what they call it.
That's right. It's a wagon. You battle with it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you like the battle wagon?
Yeah, I'm more of an Emissary belt guy.
Okay.
I've been using the hell out of their Molly belt adapter. I think that's what they call it.
Yep.
I'm going from memory, but basically it's these little panels that you can hook up like what's the S-Tac Kiwis and things like that too. I've been using the hell out of those things all day today. Those are really good. What's the code? I know we got some savings. For
1911 Syndicate saves you 10% off the website. They've sponsored the channel for a long time, guys. Get yourself a belt. So Jake, some people have asked how they can support the Syndicate. You know how you guys can support more?
Space heaters. That's what we need right now.
Or hand warmers, as well as we are a real estate business. I'm in Phoenix, he's up here in Salt Lake. We have people all over the country and world at this point. You need help with the real estate, we're your guys. If you want some limited access to, say, classes that we host with big name instructors that are reputable, Patreon is the place for you. We limit those classes just because of number of people per instructor, but we release those on Patreon. There's some also cool stuff on there, some limited bourbons, some lighters, some other cool, unique Syndicate things.
Check it out.
So if you're looking for more ways to support us, there you go, boys. So this brings us to the final thoughts, Jake.
Yeah, it does.
Final thoughts of the best EDC gun ever made, or EDC perfected.
Okay.
Again, the whole idea is going off the trends that we see in the market.
Yes.
Light capability, smaller gun with a big capacity, optic cut, comp.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the trends we see the market going.
Sure.
I feel from the factory, the AXG Legion fits 80-90% of what most people are looking for.
Yeah.
Would you agree?
I think feature set wise, yeah, it checks a lot of boxes.
Smaller than the Glock 19, but because it has a comp and the metal frame, yeah, I would argue it shoots similar to a Glock 19.
Yeah.
Those comparisons are hard, right?
Sure.
Because that's very subjective to the individual, but go with me on that.
Yeah, okay.
Right?
Okay.
Would you feel it fits kind of that compact size shootability in a smaller footprint?
Yeah, that's fine. I think the comp is a tad bit unnecessary. That's my personal opinion though.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you feel like it's doing work or not doing work?
I feel like it's probably doing something. I just, I don't know. I feel like comp on a carry gun is just, I don't know. It's like, sure, but
Okay.
I don't find it to be necessary.
Okay. I think from the factory, there's an argument to be made for the price also. We have this really nice build that we have from a friend that let us borrow this, Devon. All said and done with all his Mischief Machine Works frame, the slide cuts, the barrel porting, the light, all said and done, that build comes out right to about $1,550. Okay.
As configured?
As configured.
Okay.
Okay. From factory, the AXG is $1,199.
Okay.
Okay, so again, the argument being, some people want to be able to just buy something from the factory that fits 80 to 90% of what they're doing.
Sure.
The example you said earlier was an AR.
Yeah.
If a company makes a rifle, or in this case, a pistol, that fits what the market is trending or what I want in a carry gun, there's something to be said about just buying it.
Yeah.
Because parts availability is very difficult with that.
Okay.
Every person that I talked about with this AXG was like, well, I can build it for cheaper. Potentially, depending on how you go. This one is not cheaper.
Yeah.
But also they followed up with always. The only downside is I had to wait for 3 different limited drops to get my frame, and I finally got one.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree.
So this may not be as unique as that, but the availability is probably gonna be there because it's a factory gun.
I would also argue there's going to be a better resale market.
You're right.
I'm not buying some parts built from someone. I would buy a factory gun.
Yeah. All right, Jake, so we're gonna do a final rating on this pistol, which for me, It's hard to give something like an A+, I think. That feels like a little shilly. Someone would potentially say that, right? Even though this is very subjective to my opinion. I didn't give it an A+ originally.
Yeah.
I had it at a solid A- to A.
Wow. Okay.
Now, having said that, because again, this is fitting 90% of what I want in an EDC gun and what the market is showing.
Okay.
Right? So 90% is an A.
Yeah.
See the correlation there?
Okay.
Okay, go with me on that, guys. We saw in real time today a flaw that Jake found, and it's the slide to frame finish. This was the one negative I had about this gun, is that it really loosened up over time. Because when I first got it, there's no wiggle or slop in that frame to slide finish at all.
Well, and you have to, your brain has to go to the next stage of that story.
Which is?
What happens 1,000 rounds from now?
Which is why my final grade now for this, after having that happen, drops a full letter grade to a B.
I think you have to, and there might be some enthusiasts out there that know everything there ever is to know about this gun and be like, no, that's how they make those. I don't know, but you're saying it changed over time.
Over time, it got more and more loose.
Yeah, which is not exactly ideal.
And significantly.
And it just makes me wonder, I don't know, man, what happens 5,000 rounds into this? I'm not saying anything would happen.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely curious.
Maybe that's as loose as it's gonna get, but to have that much tolerance change within 1,000 rounds, I can only, look, I'm not a smart man, Jenny, okay? But I can only anticipate the next 5,000, it's just gonna get more and more loose.
Or potentially something worse.
Or something
and
worse.
it's like, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, and I'm not trying to shun Sig. It's not that. I'm just saying, this seems to be odd.
Odd, yeah. Because, you know, I try not to watch other videos when we do this. I haven't seen any other video on the AXGs after I wrote this video that mentioned that happening. So maybe I have a lemon, guys, and we just kind of noticed it more on the range today because you had your first rounds on it. Either way, solid B, guys. As long as that doesn't continue to be an issue, I think this fits, again, 90% of what most people want in an EDC gun today from the factory, and I don't have to wait for parts from an aftermarket company.
Right on.
Okay? Thanks, guys.